Good evening. Welcome to another interminable episode of Whale That Awed Dick Moby, in which I will be unreading the great American novel of 1851, Herman Melville's Moby Dick, the worst book I've ever read, the only book that I would like to unread. And so I'm doing so, from end to start, painfully, slowly, while eating nothing but ship's biscuits and suffering the wounds of harpoons and terrible wordplay, albeit backwards, for your entertainment. It's not entertainment. If you want to give anything to this project, which has been already going on for 19 hours of my life and counting, there is an address down there, the nvm.org, which is the address of the National Video Game Museum, and they deserve your contributions, not me. Don't give me anything for this, but give them any financial contributions you see fit to keep them afloat during these difficult times, while no one can go and see them in person. That would be good. If you want to do anything for me, you can of course click like and subscribe and whatever else you do on this website, wherever it is you're watching. Leave a comment, post something in the chat. I love seeing those sorts of things. I can ignore them at my leisure. Last time we reached the end of chapter 85, or rather the beginning of chapter 85, given that we're reading it backwards. I can't remember what it was about. I remember there was, at one point, our narrator claimed that whales always carry a basin of water on their heads. Now that wasn't garbled confusion being backwards, that's genuinely a claim they make. I'm not convinced Herman Melville knows a great deal about whales. I think at this point, he's freewheeling. He's completely making up anything he likes. He knows no one's going to read this book at this point. No one's reached this part of the book. He doesn't care. He can write anything he wants. So let's continue. Let's see what fictional facts about whales we can find out this time. There is no further drama in this book, as far as I'm aware. It's merely a treatise on whales and whaling, nautical terms, and unpronounceable places and historical allusions. So let's jump right in, shall we? I already got confused. I've been learning German, so this immediately confused me. Die Monster, which is obviously not. That would be German for the monster. It would be German for a lady monster. D being the feminine form of the. It would be der Monster if it was. So I'm just gonna get on with it. I'll try to stick to English at least, the native language of myself and Herman. Die Monster the watches mutely and hands his folds, a stern dropping pitch polar the and slackened is towline the flurry his into goes whale agonized the leash skillful in held greyhound alike master it's to returning spear the repeated is dart dexterous the talk gamesome such to again and again stuff living the quaff punch bowl live that from and oh, excuse me. Their spout hole his of spread the in punch choice brew weed alive hearts verily yea it round drink weed and jet the to canakin hold ye have eyed lad tashtego then what monongahela. Sorry if you know what that means and I'm mispronouncing it, or potentially even being racist in my my cultural ignorance. Monongahela, old unspeakable ore. It certainly is unspeakable. Or Ohio, old ore. Whiskey, Orleans, old were it, now would. Today wine run must fountains all. Forth immortal July's 'tis, Stubb cried. Him of out spigot that drove that. Oh, I see they're celebrating Independence Day in their own nautical fashion. Blood red spouts now he. Yeah, you see. What a party. Blood red spouts now he. Water sparkling of instead. Whale the of spot life the in quivers and I've been in America once. I was in America once during Independence Day. I was there on my honeymoon. My wife was there too. We were in Boston. Lovely place. We were on the banks of the Charles River, about to watch fireworks, celebrating the 4th of July, when a huge electrical storm swept in and disrupted the party. Everyone was told over a tannoy announcement system. I don't know what they call it in America, but a tannoy is the term I'm going to go with. They announced that everyone had to leave the park, but then they announced that everyone could go back into the park. So everyone basically had to walk around in about a mile-long circle and end up exactly where they started as a result of the electrical storm, which contained lightning. So they claimed over the announcement. The announcement came over saying, everyone, be aware, this is a very dangerous storm. It contains lightning. Was what they said. I'm assuming they were just covering themselves for being such a litigious society. If they hadn't announced that the electrical storm was likely to contain lightning, then somebody could have sued on the basis that the lightning was unexpected from the electrical storm. But anyway, we all walked around in a circle, and then my wife found $5 on the floor, which we spent on some fried dough. Fascinating tale to tell. Otherwise, I have no real connection with the 4th of July. I don't care. Red blood spouts now he, water sparkling of instead. Whale the of spot life that in quivers and, distance foaming the spans steel bright, the arch lofty superb in, impulse nameless, rapid with moment next. Chin his on staff longer balancing, juggler of somewhat you minds he. Ere the in feet 15, palm his upon balance fairly stands weapon that till point the elevating thereby, hand his in butt end that depresses steadily he. I am getting steadily depressed by my butt end. It with him covering when, whale the at it levels he. Middle waistbands his before full lance the holding then, unobstructed rest the leaving. Grasp his in end free it secure to as so, hand one in warp, the of coil the up gathers whistlingly stub. Straight exactly be it if see to length it's along thrice or twice glancing. Lightly lance long the handling. Ahead feet 40 is whale towing the foam fleecy enwrapped, boat flying the of bow tossed the in upright stands he. Him at look. Pitch polling in excel to qualified specially was. Emergencies direst the in equanimity and coolness deliberate. Humorous his from who man Stub at now look. Play into comes pitch polling any before. Whale atu fast get first must you. Therefore thing general as. Drawbacks serious become effect in which. Lance thee with compared as harpoon thee of length inferior and weight greater the of account on, successful frequently less still is, done when and. Done seldom is it yet. Lance the with way same the in pitch poled be may harpoon the though that, here mentioned too important is it, further going before but. Darting after hand the to back hauled be can it which by length considerable of warp are called rope small with furnished is it pine material lighter of also and harpoon the of that than slighter much is staff the length in feet 12 or 10 some is spear entire the included wood and steel. Headway extreme under, boat jerking, rocking violently from darted accurately is lance long, the which to distance wonderful that is feature and fact grand its. Whale running inveterate and with indispensable only is it. It like nothing boasts exercises its all in. Sword broad or sword small. Pitch poling called lance, the with manoeuvre fine that exceed none, forced often, so is whaleman veteran the which too. Subtleties countless and hand of sleights the dexterities and devices wondrous the all of. Remained then what? Furious and fast so swam he, impossible was flank his to upboat the haul to butt. Him lose to content be o'er, whale flying the lance to imperative became it. It extract inevitably later or sooner must iron planted thee upon strainings unintermitted such. Fleetness added with, flight horizontal his continued still, sounding all at without, whale stricken the butt. Iron one planting in succeeded last at Tashtego, exertion great by. Foremost was Stubbs and pursued boats there nevertheless. Actium from barges Cleopatra's of as. Flight disordered precipitantly swift with fled and turned they, them to down sailed ship there, as soon so but. Raised were whales noon towards. Hello Al in the chat, nice to see you once again, enjoying this travesty of an internet show. It's not a show. Event the by unwarranted remain it did nor. Pre-sentiment particular some to obedience in working be to seemed he. Keel bald crafts the from hair of crop insure to seeking diligently though as unctuousness the in rubbing and side the overhung it where bottom it's under crawling. Occupation that in pains customary than more took disappeared Jungfrau ship German the after long not morning one and. See, I knew my German lessons would come in handy. Oops, I did far too much selection there. I was just hoping to select one word there, Jungfrau, which I assume isn't German for sperm. I'm not going to draw one. In strongly believed Queequeg. Bravely slide boat the make to is view in object that and things sliding at is oil that. Hostile are water and oil that considering advantage contemptible no of be possibly may it. Harm no do can procedure as such as that doubted be to it is nor. Bottom the grease they, I'm sure. Boat there upon operation analogous and perform whalers some. Purpose same the much for and anointed our carriages of axles there. Swiftly and easily run them make two. Pitch polling, 84 chapter. It means virgin, apparently. I wasn't a million miles off. I knew there'd be some kind of sexual connotation in the whole German Jungfrau thing. Jungfrau, doesn't it? Virgin, it doesn't. I guess it means young woman, does it? Jungfrau. I know der Junge is a boy, meaning like a youngster, a boy, as opposed to das Kind, which is a child, and das Mädchen, which is a girl. So it's not a girl. Jungfrau, direct translation as a young woman. Interesting. Interesting claim that all young German women are virgins. I'll have to speak to some of my German colleagues about that. Oil any without burnt that lamp miraculous was mosque which in. Jonah of honour inbuilt mosque Turkish out of speaks voyagers Harris's old in traveller English and ago centuries three some and. I'm always concerned when Herman begins a chapter or ends a chapter I guess talking about mosques and Turkish people. We may be in for some casual racism here, some traditional 19th century racism coming up. If he starts referring to Hindus with a double O at the end, that's you're in for a hell of a ride. Go centuries three some and. Jonah of story historical that in believed devoutly Turks enlightened highly the day this too besides was it so and miracle general the of magnification signal as advanced was hope good of Cape the via Nineveh to going Jonah's of idea very this priest Catholic Portuguese are by four. Oh, he's bringing all the races in here. We're going to have a whole syncretic melting pot of faiths going on. Clergy reverend the against rebellion devilish, abominable and pride impious, foolish his shows only it say I. See the and son the from uppicked had he what except learning little but had he that seeing. him irreprehensible, more still thinger. Reason of pride foolish, his evinced only, Sag Harbour old of arguments foolish, these all but. Liar, a history modern make so and, discoverer reputed its, Diaz Bartholomew from headland great, that of discovery the of honour the rest would day at early, so at hope good of Cape, the weathering full stop please Herman any time now. Cape the weathering Jonahs of idea this besides. In swim to whale any for shallow to being, Nineveh of sight the near waters, Tigris the of speak to not. Days 3 in Africa, all of circumnavigation complete, the involved would supposition as such. Sea red and Gulf Persian, the up passage another and. Mediterranean, the of length whole, the through passage, the of speak to not but. Hope good of Cape, the of way the by round him carried have might he. Yes, Nineveh of distance short, that within profit the land to whale the for way other no there was but. That is how coast Mediterranean, the of point nearest, the from across journey days 3 than more very much very. Tigris the on city Nineveh of journey days 3 within somewhere up vomited was he days 3 after ands. Sea Mediterranean the in whale the by swallowed was Jonah. Oh, it's that Jonah. It's not a character in the book. He's actually just going on about Jonah as in Jonah and the whale and the profound silence. Marvellous. Right. Remember I if this was it. Faith of want his for reason another still had he but. Round all worst it seems therefore. Sag Harbour poor. Doom watery from saved was so and to swam profit endangered the witch. Wind of bag inflated an, life preserver meant merely Jonah of book, the in mentioned whale the that opined have who exegetists learned, wanting been there have nor. Eagle, the gull, the shark, the christened nowadays are craft some as. The whale, called possibly add would I, and figurehead for whale with vessel some. By near vessel another to escape his affected straightway he. Ship Joppa the from overboard thrown was Jonah when that. Commentators continental other by divined been has it besides. Them I've lost my place by moving. Them into crawled and tents into horses dead there turned campaign Russian the in soldiers French the as even. Whale dead out of body floating that in refuge taken have must Jonah that supposes exegetis Germana because ground that who falls likewise objection this but. Juices gastric whales the and body incarcerated his to reference in obscurely something was. Profit the of matter this in faith of want his for urged. Name that by went he. Sag Harbour which reason another. This is fascinating. I really feel like we're learning here. I don't know what we're learning, but we're learning. Couldn't leave the Bible out of this, could he? I don't know why he was going on about mosques early on. Toothless is maybe all will be unexplained as we go on. Toothless is whale right there. Thought second on but. Tooth hollow in himself ensconced have might Jonah too possibly. Players the all seat comfortably and whist tables of couple accommodate would mouth whales right there truly for. Bishop good the in enough reasonable seems this and. Mouth his of part some in lodge temporarily as but. Belly whales the entombed as Jonah consider we that. Bishop the hints necessary not is it. Ready is answer anticipative Jeb's bishop. This but. Small very so is swallow his. Sorry. I was just thinking a Jeb's bishop I'm going to start using as a euphemism for my cock, and then the very small swallowed Jeb's bishop suggested otherwise. him joke would roll Penny. Sorry. Pull it together. Saying this, have fishermen the which concerning. Order that of varieties the and, whale right the. Leviathan that of species at a respect with true only peculiarity head his in spouts too, with whale Jonah's represented which of one. Plates unscientific, curious with embellished. Bibles old-fashioned quaint those of one had he. This was story Hebrew, the questioning for reason chief whaleman's Sag Harbour old one. That all for... sorry, I'm still thinking about Jeb's Bishop. Exactly. Choking down Jeb's Bishop. My wife doesn't watch this, so... I mean, she would like to watch this. I don't allow it. She's very much into the things I do on the internet, particularly the nonsense reading backwards things. She won't get when I make a reference to Jeb's Bishop, which I will do several times during this week, and I'll let you know how it goes next week. That's all for facts less the wit one traditions those make not did traditions those doubting there yet and dolphin the and Arian with Arian and sorry whale and Achilles of story there doubted equally. This has tickled me more than most episodes, or rather I've tickled myself. I've tickled myself under the Jeb's Bishop. Doubted equally times there of pagans or orthodox the from outstanding, who Romans and Greeks skeptical some were there then but whale that and Jonah of story historical this distrust rather Nantucketer's some now chapter preceding that in whale that and Jonah of story historical that who made was reference regarded historically Jonah 83 chapter. Now this here would suggest that we're going to continue discussing Jonah and the whale, given the reading order in which we're going. So let's continue. Now that's not a spelling of Vishnu I'm well acquainted with. It's the Hindu Vishnu with the double O's going on. This reminds me of I wonder if I've still got it. I don't think I have. I think I gave it back to a friend of mine. In fact, my best man. I think I gave it back to my best man at a wedding. There was a book in school. The original, a very old copy of an original. Well, I say original. I don't know the history or provenance of it, but it was a copy of Ripley's Believe It or Not, the book, the kind of book of the sideshow exhibition, whatever it is, circus type thing. I'm not even sure what it is, but it's Ripley's Believe It or Not is like a collection of supposed facts of things that are incredible. You can look at and think, wow, that's almost unbelievable. And it poses the question, but believe it or not? To which the answer is usually no, I don't. No, I don't believe it. For example, Ed Eck, memorably, Ed Eck, E-D-E-K. Ed Eck is the the American man with the shortest name. Ed Eck. And it was always written like it was an article in a newspaper or something. It would say Ed Eck of Minnetonka, Minnesota, or whatever, a place. It would say where they're from. Ed Eck of Phoenix, Arizona, whatever, has the shortest name of any American ever. Now, some of the facts in Ripley's Believe It or Not were questionable at best. One of them, it listed the largest number, not the largest prime number. It wasn't like something that there may have been some disputed proof of back in the day. There's since been. I mean, even that you can use. What's it? Euler's method to. I think was it? No, the other one, Euclid. I can't remember now. There's a method, isn't there, of showing that there's always a bigger prime number than any given number. But it wasn't even saying that. It was just saying the biggest number is, and then it listed a big number. And you think, well, I can think of a way of making a bigger number. I think of a different, a couple of ways of make it a bigger number than any number. So I'm sure I can disprove that. Anyway, the reason this came up was it was written presumably around the same time, or at least culturally around the same sort of with the same sensitivity as Moby Dick, and contained references to a Hindu man with the double O Hindu, a Hindu man who could sit on a rope or something. He could like levitate. So was it no? I think the Hindu man was the man who had two pupils in each eye. Like full iris and pupils and stuff. And obviously there were no photographs in this, so it was just hand-drawn pictures of things. Now, I could draw a picture of a man with two eyes in each eye socket. It was completely fictional. Unfortunately, I have given that copy away. I say it was in school. I stole it. It was in the further maths room. I used to do further maths, and we used to have further maths in a book room. Like I say a book room, like full of exercise books, a storeroom where you would go to get books. And there were a small number of, for some reason, books in there, and one of them was that. And I can only apologise to John Taylor, my further maths teacher back in the day, that it may be his copy even, but we took it and I kept it. So amused were we by Ripley's Believe It or Not, and the easily disprovable facts contained therein, that I took it and I gave it to my best man, who studied in the same class as me at my wedding, as a thank you for being my best man. I come to regret it now, because that would have been a great source of ridiculous facts that I could have read out. Maybe what I'll do before next time is I'll try and find a PDF on the Internet Archive or something of that copy, or I might just contact him. I mean, I could just speak to him and get him to tell me some of the crazy facts from Ripley's Believe It or Not, and we can look into that next time. For now, after that fascinating aside, let's continue with this fascinating aside. That like off Headcon whaleman's the Butt Club what? You for member roll are theirs. Vishnu and Jonah, Hercules, St. George, Perseus. Your boys took a hell of a beating. Horsemen are called is horse a rides who man are as even. Then whaleman a Vishnu this was not was. Volumes sacred the rescue, depths uttermost the to him in down sounding and. Whale in incarnate became Vishnu so. Waters the of bottom that at lying were Vedas these. Architects young to hints practical of shape that in something contained have must therefore which and creation the beginning before Vishnu to indispensable been have to seem would perusal whose books mystical or Vedas the but. Work the over preside to Vishnu to birth gave he. Dissolutions periodical it's of one after world the recreate to resolved. Shasta the saith gods of God the or Brahma when. Whale the sanctified and apart set ever for has incarnations earthly 10 his of first the by. Who Vishnu Lord are for himself Vishnu divine this of gives. Hindus, there you go. Hindus, the of Godhead, that in persons three, that of one. Vishnu dread the us gives which, Shasta the from rehearsed be to now is story oriental, wondrous that. Themselves gods great, the of short nothing in fraternity, hour of water's head the find we, times old of kings royal like for, named be to still is master grand hour. Order, hour of roll, whole, the compromise alone profits and demigods, saints, heroes do gnaw. Profit the not why, then God demi the claim I if. Similar very are they certainly, versa vice, and whale the and Jonah of story Hebrew ancient, more still the from derived be to considered is whale the and Hercules of story Grecian this, authorities contradictory best the by, but clan hour of one for him claim I, whale the not did he if, him caught whale the rate any at, whaleman involuntary of sort are deemed be may he nevertheless, inside the from, indeed, unless fish his harpooned actually ever he that appears nowhere it. Mooted be might that him of whaleman a makes strictly that weather, still. Whale by upthrown and down swallowed was, deeds good rejoicing of doer brawny that, Carson Kit and Crockett unique that, mythologies Greek the to according though for. Dubious remained long I this concerning. Not or us among Hercules admit to weather. They than decoration Saint... I realised I made a mistake earlier, didn't I? I should have said George's Saint instead of St. George's when I listed this, whatever this was, Perseus, blah, 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 blah. I said St. George. So excited was I to see our wonderful patron saint. Patron? That's not a word, is it? Patron saint. That I forgot to read it backwards. Terrible. Terrible. They than decoration George's saint, to entitled better much, are we trousers tarred and frocks woolen our in even since, disdain with Nantucketer I never them let. Patron great, there like whale with do to had ever have, say to venture I, whom of none. It was good that I rehearsed the word patron there before having to read it. Company honourable that of knights the not let. Therefore, and George Saint of order noble most the in enrolled be should Nantucket of harpooners we. You know, without context, that could actually just be George Street, couldn't it? That could be, yeah. Rights good be and England of guardian tutelary there is whaleman at even. Stamp noble own hour of one, then thus remained him of part fishy or stump the only and. Him from off fell hands his of palms the both, and head horses his. Israel of Ark the before planted being who? Name by Dagon, Philistines the of idle fowl and flesh, fish that like fair will story whole this. Truth piercing and strict the before placed. Fact in. Himself Leviathan great the other, the than other no dragon so called this hold to. Seen the of droughts ancientist. The and legend sacred, the with incompatible altogether appear not will it. Mind in this all bearing, seahorse or seal, large only been have might George Street by ridden animal the that considering and beach the on sea the of out up crawled have might whale George Saint. I know. Case Perseus is in that. In as that considering and artist to unknown was whale the of form true the when times those of ignorance great the considering yet horseback on saint the and land on depicted is battle the though and shape griffin like of represented vaguely is old of whaleman valiant that by encountered creature the though for us mislead seen this of paintings modern the not let. Yeah, I do wonder if the painting, the picture that I use as the title page of this this show, it's not a show, is actually accurate. Was it drawn at a time when whales were? I think is it a woodcut or something? I don't know. I found it off the internet. I'm assuming it's inaccurate. You know, is it exaggerated? Is it like whale porn? Is it, you know? Is that whale bigger than any whale really is? Making all the other whales feel inadequate at the urinal. Whale to up boldly march to them in heart the have. Coffin coffee, yeah, have a coffee. Coffin George Saint Perseus only but. Snake kill may man any. Deep the of monster great the with battle doing of instead. Land the of reptile crawling encountered but George Saint had exploit the of glory the from subtract much would it. Besides itself word that use Bible the of version some truth in. Whale a meaning plainly hereby. Ezekiel saith, see the of dragon as, and this is my Bible voice, as and waters the of lion as art thou. Other each for stand often and together jumbled strangely are dragons and whales. Chronicles. Who confuses dragons and whales? This is fucking bollocks. Whales and dragons, dragons don't even live in the sea. Dragons fly around, big wings, nothing like a whale. What's he talking about? I bet dragons can't carry a basin of water on their head like apparently whales do. It's absolute hogwash. Dragons and Whales Chronicles old many in 4. Whale a bean have to maintain I dragon witch. Dragon the End George Saint of story famous that is. Yeah, just write all the stories down, Herman. Why don't we just list the stories? Right, we've had Jonah and the whale, St. George and the dragon, which has nothing to do with whales at all, let's face it, absolutely nothing at all to do with whales. And he's just come up with something. Everyone knows dragons and whales they're just like each other, so we'll include that one. What's next? Star Trek the motion picture. Don't start me. George Saint of story famous that is. It from derived indirectly be to supposed some by, indeed. Andromeda and Perseus of adventure the two akin. Yeah, tell us that story as well, Herman. Say anything to pad this out. Sail set Jonah that Joppa from was it. This book could be about 4 chapters long if he just wrote the actual plot down. Story this in importance suggestively and singular most seems what? Triumph in Italy to carried was skeleton same there. Oh yeah, He-Man as well now. We're going to get Skeletor in this, are we? Carried was skeleton same there. Joppa took Romans the when. Slew Perseus, that monster, the of bones identical the be to asserted inhabitants, the all and legends, cities the which, whale out of skeleton vast, the ages many forstood there, temples pagan the of one in, coast Syrian the on, Jaffa now, Joppa ancient the in for. Story archite, this doubt man no let and. I nearly read that as fart durst. Dart first, ferry the at slain was Leviathan, this as in as much. Day present the of harpooneers best the by achieved rarely, exploit artistic admirable, and was it. Made the married and delivered and, monster the harpooned, advancing intrepidly, whaleman of Prince the Perseus, off her carrying, of act very the in was Leviathan as and, sea coast the on rock to tide was, king out of daughter the Andromeda lovely the how. Andromeda and Perseus of story find the nose one every. Lamp feeders men's fill to not and, distressed the succour to arms bore only we when, profession hour of days nightly there were those. Intent sordid any with killed not was brotherhood, hour by attacked whale first the that. Said it be calling hour of honour eternal the to and, whaleman first there was. Jupiter of sun Perseus gallant the. Oh, nearly there. Fraternity emblazoned so too, subordinately but though. Belong myself I that reflection was with transported am I. It upon distinction shed have other or way one who sorts all the prophets, heroes and demigods great many so find I when especially and antiquity and honourableness great it's with impressed I am more the much so it of springhead very the to up researches my push and whaling of matter this into dive I more the method true there is disorderliness careful which in enterprises some are there. See, I told you we were going to get into Star Trek the motion picture. Wailing of glory and honour the 82 chapter. Awesome. Well, no sperms yet today, but I think that's 3 chapters already, and we're 38 minutes in. It's flown by, hasn't it? We're just rattling through it. If we could just get 1 sperm, that would be ideal. That would, be the icing on the cake. Friend my Derek's the are many and Finback's the are many I should explain for people who don't know, the big board behind me is that's the sperm count. That's how many times we've come across the word sperm during the course of unreading this book. There are 271 individual instances of the word sperm that appear in the course of the telling of Moby Dick. I know because I went through and counted them all in advance. As we come across them, we draw them on the big board, and by which mechanism we can track our progress. It's a progress bar, more of a progress bucket filled with whale sperm. Friend my Derek's the are many and Finback's the are many What a wonderful sentence that is. Chase hopeful, bold in still, Leeward to far disappeared, all they thus and, keels young for her after maid, sail all crowding virgin the Jungfrau. Brute unnearable this of Chase Valiant in now were host his all and Derrick. Who's this Derrick guy? Consequently and. It for mistaken often is it fisherman unskilful by that. Hey, there we go. Whale sperm. I knew it. I knew one was coming up. I'm going to draw it right now. I'm going to stick it on the sperm buffer. I don't actually draw them straight onto the big board. What I do is draw it. There you go. There he is. I draw the sperm on the sperm buffer, and then I draw them. I transfer the sperm one by one. I do it not all at once, not in a big gob, just one by one onto the big board. I do that behind the scenes in between episodes, on my own time. You know, it takes a lot of work behind the scenes to prepare this show. It's not a show. Mainly mental preparation. Steeling myself. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to do this for 20 hours of my fucking life. Whale sperm, they're too similar, so is spout finbacks there. Nevertheless, swimming of power incredible, it's of because whales uncapturable of species thereto belonging, finback of that was sight in spout only the though. Boats her lowering again was Jungfrau, that announcing, mastheads pequods, the from heard was cry, that body that of sinking the after long not was it. Only another 80 hours to go, Al points out in the chat. Thank you, Al. Thank you for that. That's cheered me up no end. No, it's not 80 hours to go. It's not 80 hours to go because we're, by any metric where there's not 80 hours to go, the main metric being that what you can't see in the current stream or video later on YouTube is that I can see the scroll bar at the side of the browser window in which I'm reading Moby Dick backwards, and I can see where it is. I can see that it's a third of the way through the book now, and that I mean that's a good indicator. That's the giveaway indicator of how far we actually have got. We're nothing like a third of the way through the sperm count, which suggests that we will have a flood of sperm at some point in future. We are considerably further than a third of the way through the book in chapter count now. I think we're chapter 80. There are 100 and I mean that means we've done 55 chapters of 135. So that puts us well over a third of the way through. So if we take the average of those two measures, we get roughly where the scroll bar is, and that's probably the least depressing and most accurate measure of progress that I can make. So yeah, a little bit. There you go, a little view behind the curtain as to how we're actually doing. So it's not 80 hours to go. I've done 20 hours, and if I'm a third of the way through, I'll start another 40 hours. That's like, I work that. That's how much I work a week. At least that's what I tell my boss. I could just nail this. I could just do this for a week, get it all sorted. It's half term next week. If I'm only doing 2 days of the day job, I could just do this all day the rest of the time and get it hammered in easy. But I won't. I need to eke this out to make it last as long as possible. This is my life's work. I'll feel, bereft after this. Redundant. I'll have nothing left to offer. I guess I could read some other books backwards. Other books are available. They're not as shit as this one. All those other books, they're not as shit as this one. But there are other books that are pretty shit that I could read backwards. Maybe I'll open it to the wider community. There's no community. To decide which of these books that I should read next backwards. I guess it's whatever's available on Gutenberg. Maybe what I should just do is increment the number of whatever book this is and see what I get next. Because this, as you know, the working title of this is gutenberg.org/files/2701/2701-h/2701-h.htm #link2h_epil. So what I could do is instead of all the 2701s, I could replace them with 2702s and see what I get. Maybe The Last Days of Pompeii by Edward Bulwer-Lytton. again ascended have shall it when it for look to where no they. Down gone has body the when that so. Rope of plenty with him. Have I read this bit already? No, because I would have put another sperm in. Multiple sperms coming up. Let's go. It's a spunky paragraph. Let's get going. Again ascended have shall it when it for look to where no they. Down gone has body the when that so. Rope of plenty with him to boys fasten they. Sinking of token gives whale right. When I get so excited seeing the word whale because I always think the next thing is going to be sperm, and it's not. He's talking about a different kind of whale, a whale right. Not to be confused with a wheelwright, which is someone who fixes wheels. Whale right awen, Zealand knew of bays the among soundings on, whaling shore the in. Then under him keep hardly could ship line of battle balloon animal. That's two words I didn't expect to see go up. But balloon animal at this children's party aboard the Pequod. Balloon animal of sort becomes magnitude prodigious to swells he. Him ingenerated are gases. He is a balloon animal. They're hunting a balloon animal. Obvious is this of reason the but. Life in than buoyant more. Rises again whale sunken there. Days several or hours many have lapsed the after, where instances are there but. Free wholly is whale sperm, I'll draw it at the end. The encumbrance this from, ton than more weighing sometimes alone, blinds Venetian his. Whale right, that in bone of quantity greater, that a degree small, no in imputable doubt, no is species that indifference this. Do whales right 20? Down go sort that of one where species other any than accident this to liable less far is whale sperm the that. However, said it be. That was 2 sperms, and I will draw them forthwith before we forget. Here we go. Here's sperm number 1. Oh, he's a bit elongated. He's elongated because he's going so fast. It's motion blur. And this one is, he's just a chunky boy. Just a chunky boy sperm, that one. He's not going to fit in, is he? He'll have to edge in sideways. He'll have to sidle through. Sink sometimes do heroes buoyant. Brawny these even. Them about lard. What? Them about lard panting there all with. Life of May and flush warm the in off cut prematurely. Aspirations noble. I'm getting all hot under the collar here. Life of May and flush warm the in off cut I read that bit prematurely. Aspirations noble with swelling and health highest the in Wales young for. So not is it but him in matter buoyant of absence this upon consequent sinking so fish that in gravity specific uncommon and by caused is sinking this that assert reason some with might you then. Rheumatic and heavy bones there all and diminished lard of pads there. Creatures broken-hearted and meagre old were sank thus that whales only that if surface the above elevated considerably belly or side its with buoyancy great with floats whale sperm dead the usually it for accounted adequately yet fisherman any has nor. Thing curious very at is whale sperm killed recently the of sinking inevitable occasional this now. 2 more sperms. What an influx. I'm not even going to show you me drawing these because I want to get through it fast. I've made a right shoddy job of those 2. Look, that's not going anywhere, is it? That's not even got a... It's got a wonky flagellum. Sank carcass there, righted ship there. Adrift went fastening every, snap terrific awith. Rest the affected strain exceeding the when given were sparks of full, strokes few but. Fluke chains, largest the at slashing began. Iron to steel and porthole of out leaned he. Hatchet heavy carpenters the seizing and Queequeg cried, Aye, aye, knife? Chains big the cut, and penknife and book prayer afore ye of one run, and handspikes your with say I, avast. Their prying use no. It forego or something. Do must we, men thunder by. Sink to hurry out of devil as such in be don't. Body that to stub cried, ye won't on hold, on hold. Overgoing of point the unseamed ship the and bulk sinking the to added seemed ponderosity of tons whole moment every while. Approached all at be not could end submerged the that settled now whale the had low so and timber heads the from adrift them pry to fluke chains immovable the upon bear to brought were crows and handspikes vein in dislocation unnatural the by places there from started were cabins and bullocks there her of inlayings ivory the of many gasped and groaned ship the house at of roof gabled steep the up walking like was deck the of side other the to cross to aslant was pequod the in everything meantime off them cast to impossible was it that fastened were cables and flute chains the which to timber heads the upon strain immovable there was such it from clear break to given was command the when then body the with arms locking in persisting still if capsized bean had would ship the length at when that indeed resolutely so it to unhung last the to its good grief last the to it to unhung affairs of ordering the had who starbuck however synced a tendency increasing immensely bodies the to owing see the to sideways overdragged unprecedentedly being ships the by discoveries further to put was stop sudden abut telling no is their cabinet monstrous this of out rummaged being of might marvels other what discovered was America before long Indian West Nor some by darted been have might it when and lance stone that darted had who it about firm perfectly flesh the iron buried the from far not him in found being stone of lancehead of fact there was curious more still but of alluded ulceration the for account to fully case present the in reason unknown other some been have needs must there therefore place there denote to kind any of prominence no and them around healed perfectly flesh therewith whales captured of bodies dead that in found frequently are harpoons of stumps the as but described before bunch the of part lower the on flesh his in embedded found was harpoon corroded out of length entire the spade the with him into cutting first upon almost that chanced so it bottom that is I'm trying to rattle on a bit and see if we can finish this chapter but it doesn't seem to be we've only got 7 minutes left you see. Maybe I should just leave it here. I don't know. Usually I like to find some reason to stop, but sometimes you're just in this kind of morass of words, this linguistic salad that cannot be navigated with no context. I could literally stop in the middle of a sentence, it would make no difference whatsoever. Bottom that to sink once at wood body the upheld artificially unless that plain was it for fluke chains stiffest the by there secured strongly was and her side her to transferred was whale the nigh drew ship the when management heedful very by cords the by them beneath inches few are suspended being whale sunken the boy hours boat every long ere that so points different at it to secured were lines orders starbucks by immediately unrifled treasures it's all with sinking of symptoms showed body the ship the of arrival the awaiting were crews the while soon whale the of spout dying long last the so ground the to lowers and lowers spray column the gurglings melancholy half stifled with and fountain mighty some from off drawn gradually as water the hands unseen by when as spout expiring last that piteous most was it died and log alike lay belly his of secrets white the upturned World waning alike revolved slowly over and over then. Fins stumped his with flapped impotently. Side his on panting lay. Made had he wreck the from away rolled helplessly he that. Blood of loss he was spent so. Time this by for. Stroke death his was it. Bows the marring and boat flasks capsizing. Gore of showers with over all crews glorying there. And them bespattering. Craft the darted blindly fury swift with. Blood thick spouting now wail the. Anguish sufferable than more into it by goaded and wound cruel this from shot jet ulcerous and dart the of instant the at. Late too was Starbuck humane but. Sorry for any children who are watching this fucking mess. About the horrible language here, the disgusting horror movie that it's suddenly turned into there with the bespattering of thick gory blood. I can't approve of that sort of content in this. It wasn't expected, nor was it intended. I can only apologise. Once there him prick me let just Flask cried spot no. Oh, I've missed a sentence. That of need no theirs, Starbuck cried. Avast! Avast might be a good place to stop. I'm going to stop at avast because I think it means that I should stop, and maybe I should stop. I think that's the end of this for the evening. For now, it isn't the end forever because there is no end. This is just going to go on for the rest of my life. This is what it is now. This is life in lockdown. This is the cycle. So join me again on Tuesday for more of this nonsense. I don't think I've got anything else to say. Nothing's happened between then and now. We had a landscape gardener come around to look in the back garden to maybe give us a quote for having some work done down there. I showed him an artist's impression. I made a sort of cartoon of what we'd like the garden to be. So I walked him down into the back garden where it had been raining, and I fell over on my arse. And I mean a proper Buster Keaton pratfall of a slip. You know when you fall over and you feel like you've almost held it, and you feel like you're almost holding it for about 10 seconds before finally you pathetically fall on your arse, and it looked far worse than if you just resignedly sat down in the first place. I did that, and I hurt my back quite badly. It's still sore, and I was covered in mud. I was really quite upset, and this man, he didn't laugh at me, to be fair, but he would have been well within his rights to laugh at me, because I did cut a pathetic figure rolling around, wallowing in the recently dug mud of our back garden, which is quite steep. This is the reason why I fell. But I stood up and put a brave face on it and showed him around the rest of the garden, suggested the work that we needed doing, and he talked about the potential for a fence and sleepers and a path and gravel and all the rest of it. So imagine his delight when, on attempting egress from the garden by the same route, I once again fell on my arse in exactly the same place. I hurt myself again, exactly the same kind of pratfall. And I went over again. And the second time, he really visibly was struggling not to laugh at the potential customer. But I survived. I've since had a nice hot shower and a little wank to correct the pains in my back there. It's all back in a line. And he's gone, and he seemed to be reasonably professional. I'm sure we'll award him the work. Seems to know what he's talking about. Knows a bit about fences, which is great. So there you go. That's my news, and what a thrilling conclusion to this thing that we just did for an hour. I think it's probably time to go now, isn't it? Once again, do click the things, click all the buttons along there, and that address down there. Give money to that. Give money to them, the National Video Game Museum, not me. Give money to them. See you Tuesday night, 10 o'clock, if you want to see us live. If you're not watching this on before then, you can't. It's gone. So screw it. Whatever. Bye.